If you know me, then you know that I love reading, and so far this year I've read 17 books, and a few of them have actually been five-star reads, which is crazy to me. I've read some of my favorite books of all time this year, so I figured why not talk about them while we're almost 6 months into 2024, and we can discuss some of my favorite books, some books that I was disappointed in, and my overall thoughts, honestly. Some books fell in between. So let's get into it. I'm so excited for today's video, and I'm so happy that you're here. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gianna. This is Marty. He is always in my YouTube videos because he's just so needy. So the second that I start talking, he comes and follows me wherever I am. But yeah, so my name is Gianna. If you're new here, I am 25 years old and I'm from Chicago. That's currently where I'm located. And I mainly do book videos. I'm also a prospective law student. I currently work for a law firm right now. I work full-time for a law firm and I love it, but I'm also just a huge book lover, and I can talk about books all day. So that's literally why I made this YouTube channel, was just to be able to talk to you guys and just to make some friends. Honestly, I really want to make more friends, whether they're on the internet, in real life, that like to talk about books too. So yeah, if you are enjoying your time here or you've been watching more videos by me, or if you're new here, comment down below. Let me know what you're currently reading because I would love to talk about it. But yeah, so without further ado, let's just get straight into today's video. So as you saw by the title, today we're going to be talking about all the books that I have recently read, well, not recently read, but all the books that I've read so far in 2024. So I have not done any recap videos or like monthly reading recaps. I haven't done any of those in 2024, mainly because I felt like my reading months were all over the place. Some months I was reading like 3 or 4 books. Some months I was only reading one, like last month I only read 1 book. So it didn't really feel like it was worthy of me doing a reading recap every month. So I figured we're almost 6 months into the year, so I might as well talk about the books that I've read and what I've rated them and my thoughts. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Some of them are physical books that I have, and then some of them are books that I read on my Kindle. So yeah, and I'm going in order of the first books that I read back in January. So yeah, so I'm going to go in order as much as I possibly can, and I'm so excited. Okay, so grab a drink, grab a snack. I have my drink right here. I get no, Marty, come here. Hey, Marty. Sorry, my dog was just barking. But this is a iced green tea, and I get it sweetened. But yeah, so this is the venti iced green tea. I get this one all the time once the summer months come and it's starting to get hotter. It's an iced green tea with liquid cane syrup and no water. Instead, get liquid base, and it's really good. I said liquid base. I meant to say strawberry base instead of water. But so that's my drink. Let me move that out the way. So starting off, we started off 2024 extremely strong. Mainly because I started off with one of my favorite books of all time. I actually have a vlog that I made in the beginning of the year when I was reading this book. So if you want to see like deeper into my thoughts of while reading this, then go watch that one. It was back in January, and that is this book. So we have Last Called the Local by Sarah Grunder Ruiz. So I tabbed this book, and oh my goodness, this book took me by surprise. So like I said, this was the first book that I read this year, and I actually got this book as kind of like an arc. I'm part of the Berkeley Romance Influencers program, so I get every month I get like 3 to 4 books that are just about to come out that month, and then I get a chance to read and review them. And so I picked this one up because I loved the cover. And then also, I had never read a book by this author, but I had one of her books on my physical TBR. So I picked it up, and when I tell you I love this book so much, I feel like it does not get the hype that it deserves. I gave it a 5-star read. it's a 5-star read. I rated it 5 stars, and it is so good. You get a lot of representation in this book. So you get OCD representation from the male main character. You get anxiety representation from the female main character, and it's set in Ireland. It's the male main character owns a bar in Ireland. It's called The Last Call, I think. Or no, I think it's called Local. I forgot what it's called. Local. It's called The Local. That's what the bar is called. But yeah, so it's set in Ireland, and then the female main character, she goes to Ireland and she's trying to become a musician, but she ends up getting a job at the bar because she happens to go in there one night when it's raining, and she gets a job there to kind of help them bring in more customers and things like that. So she does that, and while she's there, she ends up forming a bond with Jack, which is the male main character, and it's just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. I love the writing style, I love the representation, I love the setting, literally everything. This is one of those books I kept thinking about it, and I still think about it, and I still recommend it. And everyone that I recommended it to that's actually read it loved this book too, so please read this one. If you read any book from this video, read this one. This is part of a series. This is book 3 in the series. I have books 1 and 2. Let me show you. So book 1 is Love Lists and Fancy Ships, and then book 2 is Luck and Last Resorts. So this is all by that author, and Last Call at the Local is book 3. So you don't have to read them in order, hence I didn't read them in order. You do not have to do that, but they're interconnected. So like some of the characters from these books are in this book and everything like that. But you can honestly just read this one and be fine. Like you don't have to read the other two, but I'm really excited to read the other two. So that's why I said we started off 2023 with a bang. And then after that, so I have my phone here because like I said, some of them I read on my Kindle. So the next book that I read was What He Doesn't Know by Candy Steiner. I'll put the little cover for it right here. This book I read on my Kindle, and this one I read because I ended off 2023 with reading A Love Letter to Whiskey by her, and that book was a 6-star read. It's another book for me that is one of my favorite books now of all time. It was so good, and so I had never read anything by that author, so I was like, let me pick up some more books by her. So I read that one, and that one is part of a series. This one I gave 3.5 stars. I was entertained, I liked it, but I didn't feel super connected to the characters. Like I didn't love it like I thought I was, so I gave it 3.5. It was okay. And then after that, this is another one on my Kindle, I'll put it here. I read Tempt Me by Nina West, and this one's also a series. It's The Wolf Hotel book 1. Now just a spoiler alert, not for the book, I'm not spoiling the book, but I didn't read the rest of the series, and I'm not going to. I just wanted to read book 1 just because I heard good things about it, and I guess that like when I picked it up, I was in the mood for something fast. I honestly don't even remember what this one was about. I just know it was set in Alaska, and it's a romance between the owner of the Wolf Hotel and then his like assistant or something, and it was okay. I think I gave that one 3 stars. I was entertained, but that was all. Like I really didn't think about it much more after that, and I don't, so it was just okay. 3 stars for me for that one. And then after that, I read What He Always Knew by Candy Steiner, put the cover here too, and that one is actually book 2 in that series. It's called the What He Doesn't Know series, and that one I got like 60-something% of the way through, and then I DNF'd it, but I'm still counting that as that I read that. But I did not love that book or that series. Book 2 was really making me mad, so I was like, I'm DNFing this and I'm not continuing the series. It was just okay in the moment, not as good as I thought it was going to be. I do want to read more Candy Steiner books this year. I want to read her sports romances that she has because I've heard really good things about those, so keep an eye out for that because I will be reading those. So that one is okay. And then the next book I have the physical copy for. Let me move these over so you can see. So then after that, I decided to pick up a book that has been on my TBR for a while now because If you see one of my other videos, I had like 60 something, I had like 60 something, no, I had like 80 something books on my physical TBR that I really needed to read. So I was like, okay, let me pick one of these books, and I decided to pick up Book Lovers. So this is Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I decided to pick this book up because, like I said, it had been sitting on my TBR for so long. So I was like, you know what, let me give it a try. I really enjoyed Happy Place by Emily Henry. That was the first that was the first book that I read by her, and then I just had this one sitting on my TBR. I have no idea why it took me so long to pick this book up. I genuinely do not know. I tabbed this book, and literally the second that I got to chapter 3, I was hooked. Like, I was hooked from the beginning. This book is written like a love letter to book lovers, hence the title. I feel like readers, especially romance readers, will really appreciate this book. At least I really appreciate this book because of just the way that Emily Henry compares love and life, I guess, to reading a book or just books in general, bookstores, things like that, was so enthralling, and it almost is such a comforting book. And it almost really reminds me of like those comforting early 2000s rom-coms, but there's more to it. Like, there's less about the romance and more about the female main character and her relationship with her sister. And then you get, like, one thing I notice always about Emily Henry's books is that she is so good at making you feel like you're in the setting with these characters. Like, this book is mainly set in a small town. I think it's called Sunshine Falls, but you get parts of it that are in New York, and I just felt like I was in both places, and I was just so into it, and I was crying. I cried at the end of the book, not like sad crying, but it was like, I don't even know how to put it, like happy crying, and just the way that it ended and the way that everything wrapped up, and the word choice that Emily Henry used, it literally caused me to start crying. And I haven't cried in a book in a very long time. So for me to have that like visceral reaction to this book, I knew this was a 6-star read for me, and this is on my top 3 reads of all time. This is on there, and this really made me realize, okay, I love Emily Henry's writing, and I cannot wait to keep reading her books. So yes, 6-star read. This is another one. If you have not read this book yet, please pick this one up. It's so good. And also, all of Emily Henry's books are being turned into movies right now, so that's exciting. And then after that, I read Hush Hush by Lucia Franco, and that one was, I read on my Kindle, and that one was just like random because someone I follow on Instagram was talking about it, and she was saying that she really liked it. So I was like, okay, let me give this a try. It sounded interesting enough, and so I did, and I actually really enjoyed that one. It was really, it's one of those like guilty pleasure books, but it was good. Like, I don't know if I would really recommend it to other people, but I liked it enough. I think I rated it 4 stars. I really, like, I enjoyed it, honestly. If there's another book, there's a second book, I'm not going to read that one, but I liked the first book for what it was. I was entertained. I wanted to keep reading it, and I wanted to know what happened at the end. So I liked that one enough. That one was pretty good. And then, okay, now we're getting into some really exciting books that I read this year. So I picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I tabbed my little life away. I picked this book up, and wow, I was so nervous. I've never been so nervous for some reason to read a book and start a series. This is my first like fantasy book ever, and so I was so nervous, but I was so excited, and I loved it. I rated this book 5 stars. Most people, which I was shocked, because most of the reviews that people have, that I've seen, or that when people talk to me about this series, like as I was reading it, they're like, you know, it just gets better. Like, book 1 wasn't a favorite for me, like it was just okay. And this is probably not gonna be my favorite in the series, but it was still a 5-star for me. I feel like now that I've read Asimov, A Court of Mist and Fury, I think I might bring this one down to a 4.5 just because that book is a 5-star and I feel like this one was still so good, but I'm thinking I'm bringing it down to 4.5. But I really enjoyed this. I felt like it was fast-paced and it was the perfect amount of world building, and I just really liked it. Like, I was so entertained throughout the entire time, and I did not like, I loved the ending and the way that everything wrapped up. It was so entertaining, especially the last like 150 pages. I couldn't put the book down and I just really enjoyed it. And then, so now that moves us on to the next book, because I think, was it right after that? No, I took a break in between. I took 2 breaks in between. It took me a month to finish A Court of Mist and Fury. So technically these 3 books I almost read like they were overlapping the next 3 books. But oh, it was so good. Hold on, I'm taking a quick... Okay. Ooh, sorry, buddy. Okay, so I just wanted to take a quick little hydration break, but I'm back. So like I was saying, the next 3 books, they kind of I read them, like they kind of overlap, I guess you can say. So the next book I read it on my Kindle, but I had the physical copy for like over a year, but I just read it on my Kindle, if that makes any sense. And that is Heartless by Elsie Silver. Oh my goodness. So I picked this one up, and like I said, I read it on my Kindle, and honestly, I didn't have super high hopes for this one, only because I had read, I had DNF'd Flawless by Elsie Silver, and I did not like that one at all. Like, I think I got like 100 pages in and I was like, nope, this isn't for me. I'm DNFing it, whatever. But I had already bought the first 2 books in the series, so I had already had Heartless. And then everyone kept saying like how good Heartless was, and I was in the mood for like a night after finishing A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was in the mood for like a nice fluffy romance. So I was like, let me pick up Heartless because I have the physical book. It's on my TBR. I need to get through my physical TBR. So I picked it up, and I'm so happy that I did. I literally finished this book in a day and a half, and it's kind of thick. And oh my god, this was a 5-star read for me. Willa has become one of my favorite female main characters. I think about her all the time. I love her. Like, she literally made the book for me. I love Cade too. But is that his name? Yeah, Cade Eaton. I love him too, but Willow really made the book for me, and I loved everything about this book. I loved the writing style, I loved the setting, I loved all the characters, the side characters, I loved the little boy. There was just so many things that I really loved about this book, and I was cracking up. I remember when I was reading it, I was literally laughing out loud because it was just that good. And yeah, I had the best time. So this one was a 5-star read for me, and I cannot wait to read the rest of the books in the series. I just haven't been in the mood for them yet, but when I am in the mood for them, I will pick them up because this was so good. So I read this one, and then when I finished Heartless, then I moved on. I ended up going, I wish I would have filmed this, but I did not. But me and one of my best friends, we did a little 24-hour readathon where we booked one night at a hotel here in Chicago, and we both read the same book. We only ended up reading one book. It wasn't even fully 24 hours, but it was so fun. We stayed up all night at this beautiful hotel. I'm gonna do it again, and I'm gonna bring the camera with me, bring you guys along, because we had the best time. And the book that we read was Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. So I read it on my Kindle, but I got the hardback because I just love it. Like, it's so nice, and it's really cool because there's like little chapter art, and then like I said, you get a picture of the main girl. And this book was so good. So this is a little novella, that's why it's a bit small. And this one is, if you've read Haunting and Hunting Adeline, then you'll know in Hunting Adeline, we learn a little bit about a character named Molly. And that's who this is. That's who this novella is about. And honestly, it was so good. I would have appreciated it if this book was longer. Like, if this book was 300 pages and like a regular size book instead of a novella, I would have loved it. I still loved it. I rated it 4.5 stars because I loved the ending, and I'm not going to give away any spoilers really as to what else this book is about, only because I feel like you need to read Hunting Adeline to really understand. But either way, it was a great book, and I read this one. And while I was reading this one, I was reading the next book we're going to talk about, which is A Court of Mist and Fury. So I was reading this book and Where's Molly at the same time, and Heartless, I think. Like I said, this book took me a month to finish because it's thick, and it took me so long. Like, for some odd reason, once I hit like the halfway mark, I was struggling so hard to pick the book back up and to actually read it. Not because of the book, but just because, like, I don't know, I think I was in the mood for other, I'm such a mood reader, and I think I was in the mood for other books. And so, but once I finally picked this book back up towards the end of the month, I couldn't stop reading it. And the ending, oh my god, the ending was so good. I loved this book. Like I said, this one was a 5-star read. I really loved how everything connected from book 1 to book 2, and I can't wait to read book 3. I haven't started it yet, but I will soon. But yes, a 5-star read. This one was so good. And so then I think after that, I think I read another one on my, yes. So I read another book on my Kindle, which was The Teacher by Frida McFadden. And this was my second Frida McFadden book. I randomly got into like the mood for a thriller, and everyone had been talking about this book. So I was like, let me pick this one up, and oh wow, I finished that book in a day. Like, I was hooked from start to finish. Now I will say, I'm a bit upset about the way that it ended. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything because it would be a spoiler, but if you've read it, then you know what happens at the very end, and I feel like it was a little unnecessary, and it did not need to happen, so that kind of bothered me, but it was still really good, and I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I really like Frida McFadden's writing. I feel like her books, you can just read so fast. Like, they're all pretty much domestic thrillers, and I feel like they just fly by and they keep you entertained from start to finish. So that was really good. Like I said, I gave that one 4 stars. Then after that, the next book is a physical book. I read Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. I also tabbed this one. And if you know me, or you've watched my previous videos, or you follow my bookstagram, then you know how much I absolutely adore the Magnolia Park series, and how I'm a Daisy girl through and through. I will always be a Daisy girl. I love Magnolia, I love all of them, but I really love Daisy and Julian, and like their whole dynamic, their storyline. I love them, and so this book I knew was going to be amazing, and it was. It was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed this book, and yeah, I can't really say much because it's the 3rd book in a series, so it's just not really much you can say, but it was really good. So 5-star read. Then we're almost done. Then after that, I picked up another cowboy romance. So I was still in the mood for a cowboy romance, but I wanted to give this author a try, and so I read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. And this one was interesting. Like, the way that I thought about it was interesting, at least, because I enjoyed it. Like, I liked it, but I feel like it was too, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I feel like it was too insta-lovey. I feel like we got a lot more telling instead of showing with the main characters, and I just did not feel connected with the characters. I liked the setting, but I feel like it was trying too hard to be like heartless and flawless, and like, I think it's called the Chestnut Springs series. I think it was trying too hard to be that, and so I was comparing it to that, and it, like, I don't know, I didn't think it was all that great, and I gave it 3 stars. I might read the 2nd book in the series because a lot of people say that that's their favorite, so I might pick that one up this summer, but I didn't really love this book, like, at all. It was just okay. The writing style is fast, quick, easy, but I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. And then after that, then I was like really in my thriller era. So the next 2 books were on my Kindle, and I read None of This Is True by Elisa Jewell Oh my god, that book, so that was my second Lisa Jewell book, and I partly read it on my Kindle and then partly listened to it on audiobook, on Spotify's audiobooks, and that one was so good. I liked it a lot more than The Teacher. So I gave None of This Is True, I think I gave it a 5 stars because I loved the way that it was written. It's like written, so it's following a podcast, so you get some podcast entries, and it's a domestic thriller, so it's messy, and the writing is really good, and the audiobook is really good. I would highly suggest listening to that audiobook if you like audiobooks. I think thrillers are the best to listen to. I can never get into romance audiobooks, but thriller audiobooks I think are really good, and it helped me fly through the book. So that one was good, and thrillers are really hard to explain what it's about, but just know that it follows a podcast, and it's a domestic thriller, and it's really good, and I gave it 5 stars, so I enjoyed that one. Then the next book was also on my Kindle, and this one was called Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, and I also really liked that one. So this one was a bit different. It was also a domestic thriller, but it surrounds the main character. Her son went missing, and so she's trying to figure out what happened to him, and where did he go, and there's like a lot of twists and turns, like did someone take him? So we're seeing her kind of grieve her son and trying to figure out what happened to him, while also finding out a lot of secrets. It's called Little Secrets, so she's finding out a lot of secrets about her husband and about everyone, honestly, and it was really good. It was really cool. Like, I liked the way that it ended and wrapped up, and I think I gave that one 4.5 stars or 4 stars because I did like it. Then after that, I read another physical book, and this one I read In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. So this one literally has been, I've had this physical copy for, I'm not even joking now, I think it's been 2 years. That this book has just been sitting on my bookshelf. I've just been looking at it, and like I never felt in the mood to pick it up, but I decided randomly to pick it up because it's so short, and I was kind of in the mood for more of like a fiction-y type of book instead of a romance. So I picked this one up, and I actually really enjoyed it. I know that it gets a bad rap, but honestly I really don't think that it was as bad as people were making it sound. Like, it's the plot line that a lot of people don't like, but I thought it was good. Like, it was really entertaining. I felt really connected with the setting. Like, I feel like this author did a really good job of describing the setting because it's located in New York, and I love books that are set in New York, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I was entertained. I was rooting for the different characters. I wanted to know how it was going to end, and I was just thoroughly entertained. So I gave this book a 4 stars. I liked it, and I really liked the quotes. I feel like it had a lot of good quotes that kind of just made you think. And then I think we're in our last book. Let me check. I've been looking at my Goodreads, if you're wondering what I'm looking at on my phone, because I have my little 2024 reading challenge. Yes, so now we're on the last book. So then the last book that I've read so far, this was the only book that I read in the month of April, and that is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. So just please take a second to look at this cover. I got this is the side, and then this is the back. Oh, she's so pretty. So I got this special edition cover from the Eternal Embers store. So they do like subscription books every month, or not subscription books, they do special edition covers for certain books, and they had this book and then Part of Your World, which is the first book in this series, and they did these really cute special editions, so I had to get it. There's also some artwork inside. I had to get it because I was already like 80% of the way through this book, and I was loving it. So I got this special edition cover because if you know me, you know I love special editions. So I had to get it, and I loved this book. It gave me similar vibe, or not a similar vibe, but similar feelings as to the way I felt reading this book, with the two main characters. So if you've already read this book and you really enjoyed it and you want to find something that gives you that same feeling, pick up this book, because they kind of give the same like feeling. I don't really know how to explain it, but that's how I felt while reading this book. And the quotes in here, the male main character, I love him so much, and this was just really cool. Like, honestly, just their relationship, it's kind of like a slow burn, but I loved the way that everything happened, and the fake dating and the banter between the two characters, and just like you could feel like their connection literally through the pages of this book. And it was just a 10 out of 10 experience. I loved it, and I really do love Abby Jimenez. I love her writing. I picked up Just for the Summer, and I will be reading that one soon, and I cannot wait because, like I said, I really loved Yours Truly, and I loved Part of Your World by her, so I'm really excited. But yes, so that ends today's video of all of the books that I've read so far in 2024, and now you know some of my favorite books and some books that you should pick up. I hope that I have recommended some new books that maybe you've never heard of and that you enjoy this video. I enjoy watching these kind of videos because I like finding new books that I should read and just like what people have enjoyed so far. So yeah, so thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video. I'm trying to post every Sunday, so every Sunday check back into my channel so you can see the new video that week. And I hope you guys have a great Sunday and a great start to your week. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.